All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us recap for the trades that we took this week. Remember, we actually do Sunday analysis every Sunday. Remember to be pulling up to the Sunday analysis. So last week, what we are seeing on this trade and why we took this trade is that if you look on a 4-hour time frame, right, from the 4 hour that was giving us all the information that we need to take this trade. So if you look at this area right here, this one, you can see that price came to this area and rejected strongly. Came to this area for the second time and rejected strongly. Now, this second rejection, it had a doji and an engulfing to reject strongly, right? And then this was where price market was last week. So you had that doji and an engulfing on the 4-hour time frame, and there's a potential for it to reject strongly again. But the time frame was bullish, so we're actually looking for either a break and retest above or maybe a break and retest below this area to sell. Right? If you look on a 1-hour time frame, that second area of interest is actually way more cleaner. If you look at this, you have many rejection from this area of interest. So I was looking for a safe zone to sell if it's going to give us the sell. So I was waiting for price to break under this level and have a retest for us to sell. But at the retest, we didn't really get the engulfing because this candle right here is not an engulfing candle. So we need to be patient a little bit, right? And the next thing that we did was we waited for the engulfing. If you look at this, we have like 3 dojis and an engulfing candle. So that's where we entered the trade. This trade actually started very, very great. If you look at the screenshot I'm posting right now, that's how the trade started. It was amazing. I was feeling like I'm going to hit take profit in about 2 hours. It was good. I put my stop loss above this high and then I targeted 1:2 risk to reward ratio. Actually posted this trade on here on YouTube. If you see, yeah, this was the trade, right? GBPJPY. So hits final take profit, right? So this was the first trade for the week, and this trade had the potential of giving us about 1:3, but I had a theory on why I should not actually hold all the way to 1:3. If you look on the 4-hour time frame, let me explain it. Right, if you look on the 4-hour time frame, this rejection that happened from this area of interest stopped around here. Same rejection that happened from this area of interest stopped around here. Same rejection that happened from this area of interest stopped around here, right? But you had weeks to maybe somewhere around here. So me, I was hoping that the 1:2 will actually it will weak me in profit, right? So I didn't expect this full move to happen, right? But it's good thing that I actually took my profit at 1:2. So that is the first pair for that is the one of the first pairs we took this week. And then the second pair, I'm going to explain this trade, but let us remove it right now. So the second pair I was looking to sell was NZD CAD. So this was how the trade played out, right? So we've come over to the 1-hour time frame. What we're looking for was very simple. We are looking to sell, so we'll look for a shift of structure to actually take this trade to the downside. So what we saw right here was a shift. So market shifted structure. It broke this low, right? So as you can see, this right here was a part I drew last week, right? During the Sunday analysis. So we are waiting for a break and a retest, and at the retest we look for engulfings. So I didn't actually enter this trade on the 1 hour. I entered on the 30 minutes time frame, right? Because I entered earlier. But even the 1 hour time frame actually had its own engulfing candles. Then I put my stop loss above this support and resistance area over here, and then I targeted 1:2 risk to reward ratio trade. And as you can see, it played out to perfection. Now, I want to explain something about this trade, right? Because if you guys were on FXALEXG's Telegram or Telegram or Instagram, you can see that he actually took the same trade, around the same entry, but he lost on this trade. And now let me just explain a little bit why he lost on this trade, right? So let me remove my trade, right? Let me remove my trade and then explain why he low-key lost. Now, I'm not the guy that will come here and be correcting FXALEXG. I actually learned from him, right? But I'm just explaining some things so that you guys might not be making the same mistake, right? So this was how his trade was looking, right? So he entered on the engulfing of the 4-hour time frame. That is number one. He entered the engulfing. He entered the trade on the 4-hour time frame and targeted 1:2. So his trade was looking more like this, right? If you go and check his Instagram, I'll put a screenshot at the side to compare, right? So this is the same trade he took, and this is the reason he lost, right? So first of all, he entered on the 4-hour time frame. Now I'm not saying entering on the 4-hour time frame is bad. What I'm saying is that the 4-hour time frame was still bullish. This was the higher high, this was the higher low. So based on the sell and forget strategy, if you're entering on any time frame especially the entry time frame, which are the 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 15 minutes, that time frame has to be bearish or in the direction of the trade you are willing to take. So if you want to take a buy, you have to wait for that market to turn bullish before you buy. If you want to take a sell, you have to wait for that market to turn bearish. So this market was actually still bullish on the 4 hour time frame. If you look on the 1 hour time frame, where I took my own trade, you can see that market actually shifted bearish and had the engulfing. That's why I took my trade more like this and then targeted 1:2. Did you see how that's how the difference of the trade was? So it's not about how big the trade is, it's about the risk to reward ratio and how good the trade looks, right? So that's how I was able to take profits, and I avoided that big loss. So let's cover every other pair that we took this week, the rest of them, right? Because this week was a great one. So this is gold, right? This is gold. I was expecting, if you look at this part, same thing from the weekly analysis, I was expecting price to come back into this area for us to buy. Now, gold is very volatile, it can move very fast, right? So we didn't really technically touch the area of interest the way I was expecting, but we had a shift of structure the way I was expecting, right? So if you look at this, you can see that price actually shifted structure right here. So price was bearish, right? And then we broke above, shifting structure to the upside. We had the retest and then the engulfing. And then I supposed to put my stop loss below this low right here. But I put my stop loss at a safe zone, which is this support and resistance level right here. I didn't actually take this trade though. I actually took only these two pairs, GBP, JPY, and NZD CAD this week, right? So this trade had the potential of giving us 1:6, but this was how the trade was looking the time I saw it, because I didn't want to. I was just monitoring the trade to see whether sell and forget works on gold, right? So this was another pair for the week. AU Euro AUD, right? So what we were looking for last week on Euro AUD was price to have a break and retest under here. We are waiting for price to have a break and retest under here to sell, right? So on the 1 hour time frame, if you look at this trade very well, we didn't really have the break and retest under here to sell. So price still continue bullish, right? So these highs right here actually shifted markets on the 4 hour time frame to come bullish, right? If you look at this, it actually shifted above this high, which make this market bullish. But when it came below, it was bearish. So let me explain how this trade works, right? So this trade was a loss. I didn't actually take this one, and let me explain why I didn't take it. But if I enter on this engulfing, where am I supposed to put my stop loss? Because I'm actually supposed to put it all the way here, and it's way too far. So that's one of the reasons I didn't take this trade. But I could have still taken this trade. But why didn't I take this trade? Now, if I go over to Forex Factory, you can see that on Forex Factory there was way too many news on Thursday, right? Way too many news events on Thursday. I could not risk it because I already know that at least one of the news is going to turn bullish. One of the news will turn bullish, negative or positive. I could not risk it, right? So let's see Thursday. Let's go to Thursday. Alright, so this was the news on Thursday. Way too many news. There were way too many news. I expected one of the news to actually just reverse the trade. I wasn't going to risk it, right? So that's how I avoided this loss, but the trade was actually not a bad trade, right? We had other pairs again, like I said, Euro AUD card. I actually posted this trade, right? I posted this trade, AUD card. I was willing to wait for a break and retest above here to buy, right? As you can see, AUD card. So now we actually did have the break, right, and the retest, but like I said, I need a more cleaner price action that looks like a break and retest, not just a one line trade like this, right? So that's how I missed this trade. But did this trade give us entry? Well, technically, yes, it did, but I was actually waiting for this trade on the 1 hour time frame. So on the 30 minutes, that was where the entry was on this trade. If you look at this trade well, you can see that this right here is actually the break, and at the retest, you can see that there's an engulfing candlestick right here, and you could have actually taken this trade, and it would have been a win with almost little to no drawdown on this trade. So I wasn't looking at the 30 minutes because I didn't think it was clean. I was looking at the 1 hour because it was the cleanest price action I could get. So that is so far so good. I've mentioned about 3 wins this week and 1 loss on Euro AUD. So we also had other pairs. that we didn't take. AUD card, we are looking for a break and retest above this level to buy. Price didn't break, it didn't retest, we didn't even enter the trade. USD JPY, same thing. We are waiting for a break and retest above here to buy. It didn't break, it didn't retest, no entries on this pair. And then AUD CHF. Now AUD CHF, we are waiting for price to stall around here for some time. Then we'll have the break and retest for us to buy. So at the break, the retest was not really deep enough for me to buy. I just didn't take it. But anyway, it played out to the direction, and that's what really matters. We will be doing a Sunday analysis again this Sunday. Make sure you pull up to the Sunday analysis, and always remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember, it's very free, and we'll see you guys next week.